Mailbag time here on Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we will answer your questions. In particular, our focus is on OTAs, of questions you may have on your Seattle Seahawks of what they've done throughout OTAs so far. We'll go over all of that coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel as we're talking about your Seattle Seahawks each and every day. And you may be saying to yourself, man, I would love to be a part of a mailbag segment. How do I make that happen? Well, if you subscribe, then you'll be notified when we go live on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. You can get your questions in to the live chat, and we'll answer them in real time on the show. So go ahead, subscribe for free today. You'll be glad you did. We'll get started with this mailbag. The man himself with a $5 super chat says, I truly believe Adams, referring to Jamal Adams, will have a great year due to newly signed players on defense. The man himself, you are the man himself. Thank you for that $5 super chat. Let me put it this way, the man himself, is when it comes to Jamal Adams, I don't think anybody is questioning the talent level of Jamal Adams. I think that Jamal Adams on the football field when he's healthy is one of the best safeties in the National Football League. I wholeheartedly agree with you, the man himself, that Jamal Adams, if he is available, if we see him out there, will play really well. The problem is that with the injuries that he has faced over the last couple of seasons now, what amount of Jamal Adams are we going to see? If he plays one game or 17 games, if he's out there, I think he's going to be great. But I don't know how much Jamal Adams will see this upcoming season just because of the injury bug that he keeps hitting as of late. But thanks for the super chat, the man himself. Another $5 super chat. This one's coming in from Alan. Alan, thank you for that $5 super chat as you check in with a question about Lance Boykin. How about Lance Boykin? Do you guys think he will make the 53-man roster? So Lance Boykin, a corner from Coastal Carolina. And, you know, I'll say this. When it comes to the cornerback position and really just the secondary room as a whole for the Seattle Seahawks team, it looks pretty deep. Lance Boykin, and I've heard some good things about Lance Boykin. He's got his work cut out for him to make this roster, just considering how good everything else is of that secondary room. Maybe Lance is a guy that can hang around the practice squad and gets the chance to be promoted later on, but with the depth that's there, it's going to be hard for Lance to make that 53-man roster. We'll see. Petey Carroll says, who's been the biggest standout through OTAs so far? You know, I got to tell you, Petey Carroll, that for me, one thing that's really stood out is Jaxon Smith-Njigba. I have heard all these positive reports on JSN so far at this point. Even when he was limited early on in rookie minicamp, he was still involved as much as he could. And we've heard from DK, we've heard from Geno Smith, the coaching staff. It's all been positive about Jaxon Smith-Njigba. I think that he's been fantastic. We've heard Geno Smith has looked the part so far at this point, that he's picked up from where he left off in 2022 to that point. We've heard about the leadership of Bobby Wagner, that he stepped in right away and been a natural fit once again in his return to Seattle. All the stuff we've heard from OTAs, and some of these guys are very positive. I got to tell you, those are just a couple of things, some guys that have stood out to me at this point just from what I've read and what I've seen. There's some others here. We're not leaving out names because guys have been bad, but those have been some of the guys in particular that have stood out to this point in time. Name a breakout player for the Seahawks this year. Jaxon Smith-Njigba is one that obviously comes to mind, but who is somebody else that you think is going to be a breakout performer for Seattle in 2023? Our pinned comment today, you might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. Get your votes in. Tell me what you think. Name a breakout performer for Seattle this upcoming season. Yasher with a $10 super chat writes in. Jaxon Smith-Njigba, K9, that's Kenneth Walker, and Zach Charbonnet, Tariq Woolen, and Devon Witherspoon. We just call him Devon Spoon now. I like that. Kobe Bryant, along with right tackle and left tackle. This team has so many ruling new faces that shows a lot of promise. Which has the highest ceiling? Well, that's a very good question, Yasher, and thanks for the super chat, by the way. As far as the highest ceiling goes, I look at, for me, there's a lot of different directions. Can I divide this answer in offense and defense? Because I don't feel like there's a wrong answer with this. Let me divide it offense, defense, okay? Let's start with offense first. The running back position with so much depth there. K9's already proven himself. And Zach Charbonnet, the player that you are getting, that you were expecting to get out of him, to me, the running back position has incredible potential there. JSN, the wide receiver position's great too. But we wonder how much longer Tyler Lockett's going to continue at this level. 5 straight seasons for Tyler Lockett of over 1,000 yards. But how much longer does that continue to go? That's why because of the youth, I would lean towards the running back position. On defense-wise, it's the corner position, right? Woolen is fantastic. Pro Bowler, tied for the league in interceptions last year. Devon Witherspoon, top 5 pick for a reason. He should be your starting outside corner day one. And don't forget about Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant wasn't bad as a rookie, but because of how much we saw Tariq Woolen impress last year, was kind of forgotten about, ignored. He's probably going to be your starting nickel corner. Watch out for that corner room. Watch out for the running back position, the wide receiver position. The youth movement is here, and it is here to stay in Seattle. Thank you, Yasha. Next question. Coley wants to know, do you think we can beat the 49ers and win the division? What do you think our record is going to be? Well, Coley, when I look at the Seattle Seahawks team in 2023, you still have to fix the defensive line. You still got glaring issues in the interior of the defensive line. And when you face San Francisco, you're going to have an issue of stopping the run with Christian McCaffrey. I still have nightmares about what Christian McCaffrey did to this Seahawks defense last year, and that hasn't gone away. I think realistically, where things stand right now, you could expect to split the series, and then about, maybe a 55-45 chance of winning the division. Really could go either way. If you can get more help on the interior of the defensive line, then yes, you can win the division. I think right now, the Seahawks, if the season began today, are looking at being an 11 or 12 win football team. If they get a real playmaker in the interior of the defensive line, they could bump that up to 12 or 13 for sure. We'll see. But that's what I see as far as the outlook goes for Seattle entering this year. Geno over Russ, I like that, says, what are your expectations for Geno Smith in his second year as the starting quarterback? I got to tell you, I'm very excited about what Geno is bringing to the table here this upcoming season. And everything that we've heard is that Geno is putting in the work, that he is doing what he's supposed to be doing as far as getting ready for this upcoming year goes. And you look at all the talent around him. Pressure's kind of on Geno in a sense, right? You got paid now. Your offensive line is better. Your weapons around you in the receiving game and the running game are better. Tight end room is okay, but not great. That's kind of the only weakness when it comes to the skill position players. Pressure's on for Geno Smith to perform. And I think that if he played like he did last year, that would be good. But if he plays even better than that, then he might even be in the MVP conversation potentially. To me, I think the expectation should be, since the talent around Geno is better, the expectation should be that Geno should build upon what he did in 2022. Confidence level in Geno entering this year. Scaled for me 1 through 10. In the comments section, what is your confidence level in Geno Smith at this point in time? Let me know what you think. 1 through 10 in the comments section, what your confidence level is. Last question comes from Tom Anderson. Tom wants to know, with all the great DBs, do you think we could see some 3-2-6 on the field this year? Very well could. Wouldn't be surprised. And that's where Jamal Adams, who we talked about early on, could factor in because We've seen Jamal Adams can be a linebacker. He can play safety. Maybe you use him in a blitzing coverage of some sorts. Yeah, I very well could see that. Get creative, get the most you can out of your defense as far as that goes. I very well could see that happening. We mentioned the Seahawks record. I gave it to you what my prediction was earlier. What about you now? Predict the Seahawks record for me in the comments section of how you think things will shake out for Seattle in 2023.